What is up, everybody? We are here on the Lasagna Show. We have returned from our slumber. Not my usual setup, I didn't come didn't come very prepared today. I didn't expect to do this, but I had my shit with me on the road, and you know what? This game inspired me to have a little bit of a show because we need it. We fucking need it, man. This has been one of the most irritating stretches that I can remember watching Yankees baseball. It's been a tough watch, man. Struggles with the pitching, struggles with the offense, struggles with the defense, struggles with the bullpen, struggles with runners in scoring position, bad decisions made by the manager. I mean, you name a problem that you can possibly have in baseball, and this team has been experiencing that. And today, things start looking a little bit better. Things start looking up. Big homer from Big G. Stanton goes deep. Everyone's excited. Everyone's pumped. And you still find a way to lose the damn game. So that's some of the Devin Williams that we, saw earlier in the season, putting runners on base, walking guys. Gives up a key knock there the other way with 2 outs to give them some insurance runs. And the Blue Jays put the pressure on us, man. They were scoring early. This is their 3rd straight win against us in the series where the Blue Jays are pretty damn close to us. So, that division lead is pretty much gone. There's my buddy in there. Waiting for Drew Aller to play football again. Yes. If you call me a slur, I will definitely calm down a little bit and feel much better. You're always very clutch with those slurs, and it makes me feel good. So I definitely welcome those, and you keep me honest. But what's up, Jacob? How's it going, man? See you guys in the comments. Man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since we did one of these. This is man, a little bit of a crash out earlier today. One of the big topics right now was oh man, that's my guy right there. One of the big topics coming into this game was Jazz Chisholm playing third base, DJ LeMahieu playing second. Should you swap them? Should you not? And I was pretty adamant about moving DJ to third. He's a little bit slower. Stick him at the corner. He doesn't have to have as much range. If you're playing middle infield, you got to range to your left, range to your right. You got to lay out and balls up the middle. There's a little bit more athleticism, a little bit more footwork, a little bit more range that you need to play second base. And everyone's like, oh, well, DJ can't possibly play third base anymore. Why not? Why can't he play third base? Oh, he's just, he can't. He had 5 outs above average last season. By every report from the beginning of the year till now, he's in the best physical shape he's been in a long time. He's feeling healthy, feeling good. The feet are good. The lower half's good. Everything's good on DJ. But for some reason, he physically can't play third base less than a year later, removed from when he was playing a pretty decent third base. So what happened? His arm fall off? His feet stop working? Why can't he play third? And then John Heyman's report comes out. Did you see the video? You saw it. I know you did. DJ LeMahieu prefers to play second base. Prefers. So now we're giving preferential treatment to a guy who should have been DFA'd last year. But, Captain Judgy steps in, keeps him from being DFA'd. And now we're still living and breathing the DJ LeMahieu experience every day. Which, he had let's see what he had today. He had a base knock today. Big deal. Congratulations. And an RBI. Wow. Big time. But it's the story of this team. It's the story of the season. It's been the story of the Yankees for quite a while now. Bad fundamentals, players playing out of position, bad base running, bad situational hitting, can't move runners, can't figure out how to bunt, can't figure out how to hit behind runners, can't figure out how to hit with runners in scoring position. It's just been that's the Yankees' MO. That's what they do. That's what they're known for. You heard the Dodgers scouting report last season after they beat the Yankees. You think that's just the Dodgers scouting report, or do you think there's other teams that agree with that shit? Because it's pretty obvious if the fans can see it, if a good team like the Dodgers can see it, I guarantee everyone else can see it. They may not have the star power to compete with us sometimes, like the Guardians or the Royals sometimes, but man, you face a good team like the Dodgers, what happened? You got gentlemen swept. You almost got swept. So, and I got to say, man, these Blue Jays, you look up and down that order, and it's not as many recognizable names that you usually see in that order. But they're scrappy as hell. They do the little things, They choked up a pretty big lead today, and they still were relentless down the stretch. They found a way to fight back and still win a ball game where, damn, it looked like they were about to fold. Credit to the Yankees and Stanton, hitting a dinger there, looking like he was back. Pretty clutch moment for him. Clutch moment from Judge again. I mean, those are good things, but man, David Williams comes in, walks a guy, slow to the plate, allowing base runners to advance. Then you get a slack, not only advance, but steal bases. Then you get the sac fly. Then a run scores on a pass ball. You have Ben Rice back there, who's not the best defensive catcher. So yet again, we have games where balls are going under Jazz's glove. You have bad throws from Jazz. You have, bad defense from the catcher today. And some of those, you can't expect Ben Rice to block all those, Devin Williams did kind of pull that change up, and it was a really tough pitch. But, they're stealing bases. You get the pass balls. It kind of looks like it's a catcher thing, even though there's a lot of blame that does go on Devin Williams for being slow to the plate. Most catchers don't have a good move. They're not quick to the plate anyways. So, you can't really expect that too much. But it just looked like the Blue Jays were taking advantage of what they were given. Didn't have to do too much, and they found a way to win another ball game. So that's 3 straight for the Blue Jays against this Yankees team that cannot rise to the occasion, man. They cannot rise to the occasion. I'm sorry. Got beat twice by the Red Sox, got swept by one of them, got your ass kicked by the Dodgers. I mean, big series here against the Blue Jays, divisional implications on the line. And you just lost 3 straight in a 4-game set. You could almost be swept tomorrow in a 4-game set. And that 7 or 8 game division lead that they had previously has evaporated. It's gone. So, and it doesn't get any easier. You got the Cubs coming up. You got Big Dumper with the Mariners. You got the Mets. So, divisional, not divisional, but you got the intercity rivalry with the Mets. Mets aren't playing great, but, those series are always a headache for, either side. We did beat them earlier this season, but, it's still one of those series where anything can happen, rivalry series. Mariners could pitch. Big Dumper's hitting a home run every day. The Cubs are good. So, there's not a lot of relief here coming up. So, it's one of those situations where you want to see the Yankees play better, and they're just not doing it. Just not doing it, man. 2 home runs to Davis Schneider, who had 1 home run coming into the series. That's from Rivon, my bad. Sorry if I said that wrong. But, man, what do we say? I mean, is it safe to say that this is just not a good team? Was the early start a facade? Was it a cock tease? Every year we get the great start. Everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid. And then summertime comes. Anthony Volpe regression. Paul Goldschmidt's regressed, even though he had a good day today. You got DJ LeMahieu out there. This roster, if you look at this roster, it's made up of a bunch of young guys trying to figure it out, a bunch of old guys trying to still, be formidable. And then you have Jazz, Bellinger, and Judge in the middle. So if Jazz, Bellinger, and Judge aren't carrying the load, there is potential for a lot of, hit and miss in this lineup. Young guys are going to have growing pains throughout the first, this is Austin Wells' first season as a primary catcher. Volpe, only his 3rd year, even though he should be figuring it out soon. Dominguez, first full season. Rice, first full season. JC Escarra, not a super young guy, but, doesn't get a ton of – sorry, I'm reading a comment. JC Escarra, he's not a super experienced guy. So, you kind of have a somewhat of a hit or miss lineup, which is – there's no wonder the runners in scoring position situation keeps biting them in the ass. Then you got a bullpen who's overused, overtaxed. Some of that's the starting pitchers not going deep into games. But some of it is just, Fernando Cruz. I was talking on Twitter the other day. I feel like he was overused. 35-year-old guy. He's had a couple previous seasons of high usage rate. Comes into this season. has the shoulder inflammation, and then he ends up with I think it's an oblique situation. I think left side, his non-throwing side, from throwing a medicine ball or something like that. So when you're 35 years old and you've been overused, I feel like there was a lot of games where he didn't have to be used. He was brought into games where it was a big lead for the other team or a big lead for us. If you're going to want to use your high strikeout K rate guy as a setup man, save him for those moments. Save him for the big moments where you desperately need to strike out late in the game, close game, tie game, have a lead. Use him sparingly and pick your moments. Save your bullets, because the more you use this guy, the more likely, especially at 35 years old, especially with the last 2 seasons having high usage rate, something's going to give. And second time on the IL this season, he's got the oblique situation. But people are like, oh, it's not his arm, it's just an oblique. When you have an older guy who's being used, third straight season of high usage, 35 years old, those things happen. Soft tissue happens. It's a calf, it's a lat, it's an oblique, it's a groin, it's a hamstring. The soft tissue stuff, especially for older guys being used a lot, that's kind of what happens. So, tough to see that. Mark Leiter Jr. feels like he's in the game every day. Lasagna still hasn't found his stuff yet. He's kind of flip a coin right now. You're not really sure what you're going to get with him. The velocity's been creeping up a little bit, but we're wanting to see that 99, 98 to 100. We're wanting to see the top level stuff. We want to see top shelf stuff from Lasagna. He's not there yet. Catastrophic arm injury. He's had a couple months back. It looks like he's still working through it. So, he's a coin flip right now. Devin Williams was pitching better for a while. Rough start to the season. He's playing pretty rough. I mean, he looked pretty rough today. So maybe the shine has come off of that, that little hot streak he had. I don't know. Is today and earlier in the season what we're going to see from Devin Williams, or are we going to see the good side? Who the hell knows? If you ask Mets fans, if you ask Brewers fans, he was there. He was a Brewers guy. If you look at his postseason stats, even though he's had a very limited appearances in the playoffs, it's a very small sample size, but it's ugly. The Pete Alonso homer, not good. So, Devin Williams, I'd say, is a coin flip. Luke Weaver gives up a granny yesterday. I think it was a grand slam, threw in homer grand slam, one of those. Hasn't looked right since he got back. But to have Luke Weaver come back after missing some time and throw him right back into the fire as a setup man instead of giving him some low leverage situations where he can kind of work himself back, I don't love that. I really don't. So let's see. Lou says Boone told Meredith he was pleased with the effort during the postgame. Boone is the consolation prize, the participation trophy era manager. If you didn't win, it's okay as long as you tried hard and you had fun with your friends. Yeah, it's fine. They tried hard. They had effort. Ugh. I can't stand Aaron Boone. I think the soft culture we see with this team is a direct byproduct, or there's a strong correlation between Aaron Boone's leadership style, the way Judge wants to be buddy and kind of extend himself out there as an extension of Aaron Boone. The everything is always okay. We'll just get him tomorrow philosophy. It's soft. When shit gets bad, it gets really bad, and we keep seeing it with these guys. Every summer, it can't just be, a little bit of a rough patch in the summer. It's holy fuck, this team is awful. Really bad summers. Like, you can't just be, somewhat of a slump, somewhat of a regression. You kind of find your feet again and, maybe a little bit of another slump, find your feet again. The normal ebbs and flows of baseball season, that's expected. But every time this team scuffles, the wheels come off of the car completely. It's awful. It's terrible. This is just, I'm going to look at the schedule here really quick, but man, I think this is 9 of their last 13 games they've lost. That's horrible. That's really, really bad. You're coming into the series against the Jays. You got Canada Day. It's going to be packed in there. You get punched right in the mouth. You're close to the division. One of these interdivisional series where you can make some ground up on the Jays, open up the gap a little bit, get a little more comfortable with your lead over the Jays. You lose the first 3 games. Where is the, what's the word I'm looking for here? There's just it just feels like there's no urgency. It just feels like, anytime there's like a big moment when this team has to step up, it feels like they fall flat in their face. It's felt like that for several weeks, at least a month or more. Everyone talks about the annual June swoon, but it's July 2nd now. You lost yesterday, you lost today too. Early in this game was ugly. They fought back. Cool. You still found a way to lose the game. When are you going to find ways to win the game? Good teams find ways to win games, especially close ones. What does the Yankees team always do? Extra innings, find a way to fucking lose. One of the worst stats of the season, I think, is when the Yankees go down 3 runs or more. I think they're 0 and whatever, or they've only won like 1 or 2 games. Why can't you scratch and claw your way back and win those games? You had an opportunity to do it today. You had Judge, you had Stanton, you had some success. They had a rally there. They had an opportunity to win a ball game where they looked down and out early on. Fucked it up. Tim Hill, stealing some outs with Tim Hill. I know the bullpen's thin, but Tim Hill's got a rubber arm. He gets used a lot. Left him out there begging for him to find a way to finish those 2 innings of work. I think it was 2 innings. I believe it was 2 innings. But, gives up a homer to, I think it was Schneider there. And it's a tough matchup for him. Lefty on a righty who's already homered in the game once. He goes oppo. And, it is what it is. It's damage. I can't really hold Tim Hill accountable for that. I mean, he did give up the homer. But every time he goes out, he's being asked to squeeze out as many outs as possible to try and, bridge the gap from him to the setup guys or him to the back end guys to, and what's a thin bullpen, so Aaron Boone's out there trying to, overextend guys, trying to, find spots where he can let a guy go 2 innings, go multiple innings, go multiple batters. And, Ian Hamilton was decent tonight, but man, there's just a lot bad going on with this team right now. And it's hard to tell if this is just a bad team. Is this what the Yankees are? Was it the early season torpedo bat madness where the offense was crazy and they lead every offensive category? Or is what we saw in June and what we've seen, first couple of days of July, an issue? Anthony Volpe looks like an issue. Jazz Chisholm's defense at third base looks like an issue. DJ LeMahieu as a whole looks like an issue. Goldschmidt had a pretty good day today, but he's regressed at first base. He doesn't hit right-handers very well. That's kind of an issue. Ben Rice had a good day today as well, but, his numbers have regressed. He's very unlucky if you look at the advanced metrics, but, you kind of want to see some balls fall for him. It's not his fault, but, he has come back down to earth a little bit. So it's one of those things where you can't rely on him to have a 900 OPS. He's kind of coming back down to hitting like 228, 237, mid-sevens OPS, which is fine, maybe pushing 800. That'd be great if he can keep doing that. But when you've got a cluster of guys in the lineup who are also struggling, it makes it hard to rely on a guy like that to come through every time. Austin Wells having trouble back there offensively and had a little bit of an injury situation with his blood flow or something like that, circulation issue. But, his offense has not been good. You got RANT out there that hurt a hammy. Bellinger's been solid. Judge is Aaron Judge, coming off of a slump where he was striking out a ton, but, he's looking better the last couple of days. Stanton still trying to find his sea legs. Big homer from him today. Hopefully he can figure things out. But usually when he comes off the IL, there's a period of 2 to 4 weeks where he's going to struggle for a while. So you got to bake that in the cake. So, you got a cluster of guys. Dominguez has been good. Hopefully he gets more playing time. It looks like Trent Grisham is going to avoid the IL. So maybe there's more of a platoon situation that goes back there in that situation. So, Dominguez might not get the unlimited free run we've been hoping for. But it's just a situation where you got a cluster of guys who are struggling. The lack of situational hitting, the lack of leadership, the lack of moving runners, the lack of hitting runners in scoring position has caught up with this team. The regression from earlier on in the season, and it's ugly. It is not a good look right now. It's not good. You project them against the Astros, you project them against Detroit, even some lower teams, the Rays, the Blue Jays. Anyone can upset this Yankees team right now in the playoffs. There's no guarantee that in the weak American League that this group is guaranteed to get back to the World Series or at least get back to the ALCS and face Skubal 3 times. Like this is all hands on deck. This is fighting for your life. This is trying to survive type shit. This group is going to have to pull together and figure something out here because I think they just lost their spot in first place today. I know it's July. I know there's still a full 3 months of baseball to go and some things can change. But, the Yankees are tied for first place now with Toronto. It looks like Toronto would have the tiebreaker because of the head-to-head matchups, the head-to-head record. Yankees haven't been good against the American League East this season. The interdivisional games, they haven't been good. So if there's going to be a situation when they're going to be tied with a team that's beat your ass a few times, you're not going to get the tiebreaker there. So, it's unfortunate. You got the Rays that are only a half game back. Red Sox are only 6 back. Feels like the Red Sox have been tumbling for weeks. They beat our ass a few times and they're only 6 back. So, maybe if we would have won a few more games against them, that gap would be a little bit bigger. But, a lot of people saying, "Oh, we desperately need the trade deadline. We definitely need the All-Star break. This team needs a break." I don't think they need a break. I mean, the bullpen could probably use a break, but other teams are playing the same amount of games, and it doesn't look like they need a break. Good teams are handling business. This team right now is not handling business. It doesn't look good. So, one of those situations, but really irritates me with the whole DJ LeMahieu and Jazz Chisholm thing, because Jazz Chisholm, going back to that, Jazz had some comments yesterday where he was, it sounded like he was pretty upset with the fact that he's playing third base, in a roundabout way. He's not going to go on there and throw people under the bus. He's not going to go on there and slander his group and, this and that. But he said, everyone knows I'm a second baseman. And then he talked about how before the season, all of his work was at second base. Exclusively. The plan was to have him play second base. And then all of a sudden, DJ LeMahieu takes second base and Jazz gets moved to third. Jazz, he has moments where he doesn't look comfortable over there. You had a ball go under his glove the other day. Sometimes he bobbles the ball quite a bit. Some of his throws are errant. He's got a great arm, but some of his throws, kind of aren't there. And a lot of people before the game today were talking about, DJ LeMahieu just physically can't play third base. And I'm just like, what do you mean physically can't do it? According to all the reports, he's as healthy as he's been in a long time. So what do you mean physically he can't do it? Physically, he should be as good as he's been in a while. And everyone's talking about, he can't move. Here's a concept. Take him from the position in the middle infield where he's got a range to his right, range to his left, lay out for balls at the middle, stick him at a corner where he doesn't have to range that much. Oh, what a concept. Less wear and tear on the body. Sometimes there are some longer throws there, but, he can skip the ball once. He can, put the ball up in the air, just not be errant. Make sure it's an accurate throw. It doesn't have to be a super strong throw. Just save the team from errors. He had 5 outs above average last year, and he's healthier now than he was last season, and he can't play third base. So to me, it felt like some favoritism for DJ because he, came up as a second baseman. That's where he's more comfortable. That's what he's used to. That's what he prefers. They're paying him $15 million. He's a veteran in the clubhouse. He's Aaron Judge's friend. Aaron Judge prevented DJ from being DFA'd last season by many reports that I was looking to earlier. So, it just feels like one of those situations where Judge's buddy is getting preferential treatment again. You're catering to a guy who doesn't deserve that type of pull in the organization, DJ LeMahieu, and you're putting Jazz in a position. Jazz, who is a very good second baseman, by the way, you're putting him in a position where he's uncomfortable at third. He prepared all season to play second, and you're doing that because you're favoring DJ LeMahieu because you're paying him a pile of money and because he's a veteran, he's Judge's friend. That's what it felt like. Then the Heyman video comes out and he confirms that shit. So it's like the Yankees constantly talk about championship operation under Hal Steinbrenner. Oh, we always want to win. The priority is always winning a championship, blah, blah, blah. We want to have a good season, all this bullshit, mecca of baseball. But you give favoritism to Judge's friends. You give favoritism to some of these guys that you hold on for way too long. You don't eat the money. Aaron Hicks lingered for way too long. Gary Sanchez lingered for way too long. You had Gleyber Torres playing shortstop at one point. That didn't work. It was there for way too long. You had IKF playing shortstop. That didn't work. You had that going way too long. Anthony Rizzo, CT ESPN, got kicked in the fucking head, and he didn't look the same after that. That went on for way too long. Now DJ LeMahieu, Josh Donaldson. You go up and down the list every year. It's the same shit. Some guy, some veteran, some Aaron Judge buddy is getting, is starting every day, preferential treatment when it's pretty clear that they're not helping the team. So you can't come out as the Yankees and say we're a championship operation and consistently play guys out of position, favor guys like a Verdugo, a Stroman, a Rizzo, a DJ LeMahieu, when they're not helping the team clearly, and they're just getting preferential treatment because they're buddy with Judge, or they're a veteran, or they're getting paid a decent amount of money. The Aaron Hicks thing, he had to be publicly humiliated in left field with that ball that hit the line, and he just stood there and stared at the fucking ground because he thought it was foul. The public humiliation and him being booed every day relentlessly finally pushed Brian Cashman to make a move. Some of these decisions just come way too late. And I understand you're paying him money, but at some point it feels like Brian Cashman and this Yankees organization are not willing to admit what they're wrong because it hurts their ego. Brian Cashman, if he DFAs DJ LeMahieu, if he overrides Aaron Judge, there's feelings hurt. I mean, you have to make the necessary. I understand, signing Judge to that contract he got and making him captain and respecting him because he hits a bunch of homers and wins a bunch of MVPs. But it's like, some of his quote unquote GM decisions or some of the leanings that he prefers in terms of player personnel don't work out very well. So maybe it's time to let him hit the homers and say, you know what, let us, kind of handle the player personnel side. You kind of handle your playing the baseball side because that's actually what you get paid for. Stop the LeBron James, GM stuff because it ain't working out. DJ LeMahieu should not be getting preferential treatment right now over Jazz Chisholm. DJ LeMahieu shouldn't even be on the damn team, but he should be playing third base, cut down on the range, less wear and tear on his body. He was pretty good there last season. Put Jazz at second base where he helps the team more and stop making Jazz uncomfortable. Play him at third, bobbling the balls, making bad throws. Ball goes under his glove. He doesn't look entirely comfortable there. I know he played there last season. I know he's, there's some times where he does have some nice looking plays there at third because he's an athlete. He's got a strong arm and he's athletic. There's going to be times where he looks really good at third, but you can see the inexperience and you can see how uncomfortable he is often. A lot of the tough hops coming in, a lot of the tough hops, you got to step back and play it on the hop and make a long throw. Some of the backhand, some of the forehand, some of the hot shots down there. He's not getting his glove down on the ground like the one that was hit off Lasagna the other day. I know it was hit like 130 fucking miles an hour, but Major League third baseman, you get the glove on the ground, you just get a piece of glove, knock it down, or deflect it. It's tough to get in front of that, but Major League third baseman oftentimes will get a glove on the hot shot down the line. Hot shot to third base. Find a way to get some glove on it. Keep it in front, keep it on the infield, something. It went right under his glove. So, you're putting Jazz in a position where I don't want to say you're embarrassing him because he needs to play better. I mean, get out there. If this is what the organization is going to do, Jazz, I'm sure he already does it. But he's got to, he's going to have to work on playing the hops, coming forward, coming backwards, the backhands, the forehands, making the throws. You got to do all those things to make sure he plays third base well. But at the same time, this situation shouldn't even exist because Jazz should be at second base like he was told in the preseason, told in the offseason. That's where he was going to be. So why would you tell a guy one thing? Everyone knows he's clearly better at second base. He's definitely more of an impact player on this Yankees team than DJ LeMahieu is. But again, DJ LeMahieu gets the preferential treatment. You cater to DJ LeMahieu, so he gets to play second, and you got to move Jazz to third where he's uncomfortable and hurts the team. So don't tell me you're championship or bust. Don't tell me, championship operation. Don't tell me your analytics are first class when very, very simple things like this can be solved by just swapping them. I guarantee you, if DJ LeMahieu plays third base, there's going to be some times where he looks like a slow dinosaur because that's what he is. He's going to be 36, 37 years old. He's like 6'4", and his lower half is enormous. Like, the guy's just not going to be very fleet of foot. I'm sorry. But the balls hit at him, he usually gloves pretty well. I don't think the arm has declined that much in a year. If he's still playing if he's still healthy as everyone says he is, he should be fine. The feet should be good. I think his arm is okay. If he's having trouble with range, why would you have him play middle infield? Stick him at the corner. Some of these things just make too much sense. So, of course, the Yankees got to go the opposite direction. It's just frustrating. Stuff like that just adds up. It builds up. It builds up. It builds up. And one of their biggest things they wanted to do after that embarrassing World Series, and everyone called them out for the fundamentals, was go out and get guys who play better defense, make sure guys are playing at their positions. Not playing guys out of position, doing the little things right, getting Goldschmidt to play first base, which he's been really good defensively. Volpe's taking a step back, which is not great. It's one of those situations where you're purposely now playing DJ at a position where he's going to have to move more and he's not moving well. And you got Jazz at third base and he's not super comfortable there. So your whole offseason philosophy about playing guys where they're at their best, addressing the fundamental issues, getting better on defense, you just threw it out the window because you're giving favoritism to DJ LeMahieu. What are you doing? Like, I don't understand this. And everyone's like, oh, it's Brian Cashman. It's not Aaron Boone's fault. No. Last season, Brian Cashman traded for Jazz Chisholm to play him at second base. Google it. Go find the articles. There's a lot of write-ups on this. Aaron Boone folded when pressed by Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres threw a tantrum. Gleyber Torres didn't want to move. So Gleyber stayed at second, and then they put Jazz at third to try to make things work. So there is some blame here for Aaron Boone. Obviously, he does have some pull to make his own decisions at some point, because if Brian Cashman said, hey, I'm trading for this guy, I want him to play second base, I think he's going to work out great there. And Aaron Boone goes, Gleyber's not feeling that. Gleyber, the guy that, the organization was pissed off at because they say he's lazy and he can't play defense in second, that guy that the organization didn't like, that the organization traded for Jazz to replace, got the preferential treatment from Aaron Boone because he's probably one of Judge's close buddies. He threw a tantrum. I'm a second baseman. I'm not going to move. I don't want to play third. So they made Jazz have to play third base and have to learn a new position, essentially. So, you can't say this isn't on Boone, because this situation right here is Boone again. Brian Cashman's on the record. I want Jazz to play second base. All offseason, what do they say? Jazz is preparing to play second base. Jazz said, I was told I was going to play second base. What's happening right now? He's at third base. DJ LeMahieu's getting favoritism playing second. It's unfortunate. This is the kind of shit we get mad about. This is the kind of stuff, man. The manager, the favoritism, the buddy, not hurting anyone's feelings. All this kind of stuff we just get irritated with. And it's the same shit year after year after year. We're tired of this shit, man. Play guys where they're supposed to be. Put the best team on the field, regardless of hurting feelings, and try to win a championship, man. It just feels like sometimes they have priorities that take you away from winning a championship, and they're trying to, keep some egos in check, not hurt some feelings, make sure, guys are comfortable. Yeah, Josh Chisholm ain't comfortable right now. Why don't you account for him and the way he's been hitting lately? He's obviously a much more impactful player on this team. Why don't you cater to him? You're also, probably might want to get him on an extension here soon. Wouldn't you want to get on his good favor? Don't tell the guy one thing all offseason, and then when the season starts, you do another. I would be catering towards Jazz Chisholm right now more than DJ LeMahieu, who should have been DFA'd already. But, that's just kind of how Yankees do shit. But frustrating, man. Frustrating. Another bad series. Nick says, and a shortstop and a catcher. Yeah, Volpe is – man. Volpe is one of those guys, man. I got crucified earlier this season when I said I'm not 100% sold on this Volpe start to the season. I wish he was Zach Neto. I want him to finish the year 700 OPS or better. I want to see him take the next step. He's got a bunch of RBIs. I think his OPS is right around 7 right now, which is great. But he has hit his annual summer slide. Every year, I said it earlier on Twitter. Let me see. Volpe is currently 707. There's a couple of bad games from being back in the 600s. And I know everyone's not, thrilled about batting average. The guy's hitting 224. 224 from Anthony Volpe. This is year 3. How much more leash is there? He's taken a step back defensively. He's hitting 224. If he doesn't finish this season with a 700 OPS or better, if he doesn't right the ship this summer and hit better and fix the defense, you got to start thinking of going another route. You have to. I don't know how soon Lombard Jr. is going to be ready, and there's no guarantee he's going to be, instant offense. I think his defense is phenomenal at shortstop. I think you can plug him in at shortstop right now in the big leagues. He can make every play. But offensively, it might be another year. This might be a 2027 type thing for Lombard Jr. But if Volpe does not finish this season with a 700 OPS or better, and there is not a sizable difference between what he is now and when the season ends, there needs to be a big leap here. This slump right now, I don't know if it's just a slump. This might just be who he is, because he always eats early in the season, and then the summertime comes. You can't just say he's tired. He's like 12 years old. There's a lot of young players that are playing, a lot of games out there, and they're doing just fine. Why does Volpe get that excuse? Oh, he's tired. He plays a lot of games. So what? I'm not going to understand the excuses for this guy. So, on Twitter, I came out and I said, I think every summer he falls off a cliff. Early in the season, he's good. I'm going to be patient here. I'm going to wait till the end of the year to see if he has that 700 OPS, make sizable improvements, and then I'll make my overall opinion on Volpe after year 3, and decide whether I think the Yankees should look elsewhere or if there's some promise there. And Volpe is still young. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's 30 years old and this is just what he's going to be. Maybe he's a late bloomer. Maybe he does figure out the rest of the season and he's fantastic. But right now, what he's doing is not going to cut it. And this is the same regression we see middle of the year often from him. So you might be another year away from saying maybe this is just who he is. It's all. I think there was a stat yesterday or today. He's like 6 for his last 53 or something like that. I think he had a hit today, so maybe 7 for 50. I don't know. He's roughly 7 or 8 for 60. That is awful, man. There's got to be more hits in there. I think some of his walks have been, keeping his OPS afloat here recently because he has walked quite a bit. But where are the hits, man? 224. I know batting average isn't the end all be all. This isn't 1998 where batting average is a big deal anymore. 224 in year 3. Are we sure this is not who he is? He's got a pretty good sample size here. He's gotten past the freshman rookie, adjustment to the bigs. You had this quote unquote sophomore slump year. This is year 3. There's no more excuses, buddy. The defense has gotten worse. The offense is bad. The hits have vanished. What is going on with this guy? Again today, a key moment there. Chops a ground ball to second, double play. It's unbelievable. I think he leads the major leagues in runners left stranded on base. Leads the major leagues. At one point, do you have Volpe hit 9th and just leave him there? Stop putting him higher up in the order where there's potential for him to come up with runners on base. Put him down at the bottom. If the 7 and 8 hitters get on in front of him, that's a miracle. That's an awesome problem to have. But, if you bat him 9th, he's probably not going to have as much key runners on base in key situations to fail with. So if you put him 9th, maybe there's some, maybe there's some potential to, stop putting him in these positions where there are key runners on base that the Yankees need to drive in. And he's the guy that always comes up and he's stranding all these runners. Yeah, I just don't understand. What are they thinking in the organization? I would love to be a fly on the wall in the analytics room, in the coaches room. I want to hear the rationale. I want to hear the reasons why. Why are you doing some of these things? Because they are head scratchers. It's not just me. People say, oh, you're just overly negative. Oh, you're never fucking happy, blah, blah, blah. I'm not happy because this team constantly has one of the best, players in baseball with Aaron Judge. They've had Garrett Cole. They've had Stanton hitting a bunch of homers. They've had good players. They have one of the highest payrolls every year entering the league. You got a ton of money. Sometimes you fuck it up with how you allocate it, but you have a ton of money every season. The expectations are high with the New York Yankees. It's been 15 plus years without winning a championship. And they have this soft, just roll over and play dead anytime shit hits the fan type of culture. And it's so irritating. I was saying this in 2021, 2022 when I made my Twitter account. I don't like Aaron Boone. I think he's soft. I think he's a dork. I think he's the nice substitute teacher that comes into class and all the bad kids start fucking around because they know they can get away with whatever they want. He's the parent, the stepdad who's always trying to be buddy with the kids instead of, disciplining your kids and being disciplinarian. And the kids act out and they're fucking horrible to be around. This is what this manager is. He's everyone's friend. He's buddy. He's soft. There's always an excuse. There's always a silver lining. There's always a participation trophy. This culture is not good. I don't like it. I haven't liked it since he was hired. I feel like this team consistently underachieves with the talent that they've had in the past. Sometimes, Cashman, you got Cody Bellinger on this team. That was a good trade. You got Josh Chisholm on this team. That was good. Max Fried, that was a good signing. Aaron Judge, he's baseball god. There's some good players. Luke Weaver's a good player. Devin Williams has been a good player in the past, hasn't worked out. Nobody could have really predicted how bad he was early in the season, but this team has enough good players to be better than what they're showing. I think they're 10 games over 500. After they were almost 20 games over 500 not that long ago, I think. You had an 8-game lead, 9-game lead, wherever the hell the divisional lead was. Now it's gone. The June swoon's over. It's time to start playing better baseball, and you're not seeing it. This is the culture. This is what I'm talking about. So, it's just, I would love to be a fly on the wall in the decision maker's room and understand what some of these decisions are, who's calling the shots, who has all the pull, who makes the lineups, who makes the decisions. And I think a lot of people that think Boone's a puppet, I do think he's a puppet as well, but I think he has some pull to make enough of his own decisions to have an impact on this team. If you think the manager of a Major League Baseball team is not going to have, at least a sliver of, pull in that room, I got news for you. You can't be the manager of a group of men like that and not have say in some of the decisions that are being made. Boone has some pull there. Nestor in the World Series against Freddie Freeman, that was some pull from him. I think this DJ stuff at second base, that's some pull. I think Glaber playing second last year and Jess having to move to third, I think that's some pull from Aaron Boone. He is pulling some strings and making some decisions. I think he does the same thing with the bullpen. I think he overextends some guys. I think he tries to steal out. I think sometimes he leaves a starter out there for too long. I think these are things that are just head scratchers. And some of us are so frustrated because we just want to know why. And he comes out and he just feeds you a bunch of politically correct bullshit in the post-game interviews. And there's never any accountability. There's never a my bad. I fucked up. Like, that's on me. It's always, no, I feel like it was good. I feel like it was competitive. I feel like they battled out there. I feel like they had the right idea. We'll get them tomorrow. We'll be fine. Well, it's right in front of us. We're going to turn the corner. Bro, you don't have to force feed us all the bullshit all the time. We're not stupid. We watch the games. We understand this shit. You're questioning our intelligence by feeding us this PC bullshit all the time. I know that's your job, but you don't have to be doing that. The organization needs to understand, you can be truthful sometimes. You don't have to air your players out to dry. You don't have to eviscerate guys and call them out by name. But sometimes you can say, that's a tough game we need to win. I wish, I wish Devin was a little bit better there. You can be a little adamant sometimes. You can show some sack. You can have a spine. You don't have to be coddling all the time. You don't have to always be smoothing shit over. I know that's what he was hired for, but it doesn't have to always happen. The organization needs to understand that doesn't have to always be happening. The Yankees always want to control the narrative. They always want to, control the tabloids, control the headlines in the newspapers, control the narratives with all the beat reporters, control the narratives with the insiders. But by being overly PC, you just get laughed at by these people. And it's not just us. It's not just the Twitter people scratching our heads wondering what the fuck is going on. You had Chris Kirshner ask a great question yesterday. Why the hell is DJ LeMahieu playing second base when he can't fucking move? Jazz is struggling at third. Are you going to switch him? Hello? This is obvious fucking shit we're watching here. And, this is something we can talk about later. And then the next lineup comes out and DJ LeMahieu's back at second, Jazz back at third. Why are these decisions being made? We want answers. We want to know what the thinking is behind some of this shit because we don't understand it. And it's tough to watch. These games are hard to watch. The team looks flat sometimes, unmotivated, no urgency. Shit, today was the most spine I've seen from this team in probably a month or more. Fuck. It's a tough watch sometimes, man. It really is. So many head-scratching decisions. It's bad baseball. They always want to control the narrative, but they're letting other people control their narrative by not giving us answers. The Dodgers come out and say, yeah, those fucking guys, we knew it was a mismatch. Just put the ball in play. They'll fuck it up. Their fundamentals suck. Damn. I know everyone's pissed off about that, but were they wrong? I don't think so. I'm watching the same shit they are. They got more information and more data than we do. And analytics aren't the problem here. It's not analytics' fault that the Yankees are like this. It's their own analytics. And what are they ignoring? What numbers are they pulling to, kind of puff up their own beliefs and opinions and thoughts instead of looking at the hard numbers and saying, okay, I think Josh Chisholm would be great at second base, which he should be there. Why is that not happening? That's not analytics. I'm sorry. That's a bad decision by the organization. So you know what? If you're pissed off about the Dodgers calling you out after the World Series and saying that you were awful fundamentally and it was a mismatch, prove them wrong. But you know what? You're not proving them wrong right now. You're proving them very right, actually. Very right, which is why Joe Kelly, I know he didn't do much in the World Series. He didn't do anything, really. But has anything he said been wrong? I don't think so. I know you're pissed off because he's insulting the team and blah, blah, blah. He didn't play. Well, he's just a loudmouth, blah, blah. Look at his words, though. Is he wrong? I don't think so. He's pretty fucking right about a lot of that shit. Sorry, tough. It's a tough truth, man. This organization just they do enough to make the playoffs, but there's never that championship pedigree. Like it's a bummer, man. Last year with Garrett Cole and Juan Soto might have been the best chance of Aaron Judge's whole career. We don't know what the future holds. We don't understand. We don't know who's going to get hurt, what prospects will pan out, what free agents will come here. If Aaron Judge himself will be, available for the next 7 years of the rest of his career, we don't know. When you get into a moment like that, like they were in the World Series, you have to take advantage of that shit. You can't be throwing a fucking Nestor in there against Freddie Freeman at Dodger Stadium in Game 1 of the World Series when he just came off of the IL and hasn't done much more than throwing side sessions. What the fuck are you thinking, bro? You can't be playing with a moment like that and an opportunity like that. You can't. And this is the constant bullshit that we're tired of. So many Yankee fans, you go up and down Twitter, you can call them overly negative all you want, but a lot of these people are correct about this regime. The Hal Steinbrenner, the Brian Cashman, and the Aaron Boone chain of command. Something's got to change. Brian Cashman could beat his chest about previous championship all he wants, but since the core four retired, he's got nothing. Zero. You can pat your chest all you want about the past World Series, buddy. Since the core four left, you have nothing to show for it. Nothing. And your ego gets patted every time some goofy reporter or some goofy former insider says, "Oh, if Brian Cashman hit the market, he'd be one of the highest demand GMs in the whole league." Cool, bro. Then you can have him. This organization needs a change. They need a new voice in the dugout. They need a new philosophy upstairs. The whole analytics group needs to get cleaned the fuck out and replaced. The GM needs to be gone and replaced. The manager needs to be gone and replaced. DJ LeMahieu types need to be gone and replaced. It needs to happen for this team to take the next step and win the championship that we all been wanting for so long. But, it's wishful thinking. Boone just got extended. He'll probably get extended again. Cashman's got a lifetime job because he's part of the fucking Steinbrenner family. And this is what makes Yankee fans so frustrated constantly. Oh, but look, they're tied for first place. Have you been watching for the last month and a half? This team has not looked good. Has not looked good. And, sometimes baseball early in the season can be, it can be a little weird because not only are guys just coming out of spring training, not only are pitchers still trying to figure things out, getting the feel on the ball. Sometimes it's cold. The weather's not good. You get rainouts. You're stiff out there in the cold. You're getting back into baseball shape. Early season baseball is kind of weird sometimes. Sometimes good teams are really bad. Sometimes good teams are really good. And they're taking advantage of other teams, not quite being ready. Sometimes a bad team like the Pirates or Angels start off really hot and you're like, wow, maybe this is the year for them. Then they regress right back to where everyone expects them to be. The Yankees always start off the year hot and end up in this downward slide midsummer, and it's unwatchable baseball. So is the early season shit a fluke? And then, summertime, we see who they really are. Do they lack the ability to adjust when other teams adjust to them? Are they just beating up on teams who are just trying to find their sea legs after spring training early in the year, puffing up their record, patting themselves on the back and then getting fucked up in June? Like, what's the reason for this? Why hasn't the organization figured out why June is always so fucked? Why the summertime is so fucked? Why the second half of the season is so fucked? What's the reason? Because the players keep changing, but one thing stays constant. One thing stays the same. The leadership group, the voices in the dugout, the GM, the owner, all this shit stays the same while the players rotate in and out. So what could that possibly be? It's a culture problem. Bad decisions, bad philosophy. Maybe they're not considering the analytics as much as they probably should. Maybe they're considering it too much. It's not analytics' fault. I'll say that again. It's not analytics' fault. More information is good. Having access to more information about scenarios, situations, players, tendencies is good. But you can't live and die by it. I think there is a such thing as a player being hot. You had Clint Frazier come out the other day and say, you know what? The Yankees just see you as a number. They don't see you as a person. You're a number in their Excel spreadsheet. You're a number in their calculation. You're not a person. And that's fucked up because baseball, you're managing people. You have to be a leader of men. human beings go through things. They get hot. They get in the rhythm. They're feeling good. You can't just say there's no such thing as hot and bench a guy who had 3 hits yesterday. Put him back out there. Stay hot. Hot is a thing. Go talk to hitters. Sometimes you see a ball, it looks like a beach ball. Sometimes the ball looks like a fucking marble. Sometimes your batting stance feels good and you're hitting everything. Sometimes your mechanics don't feel good and you're not hitting nothing. There's ebbs and flows. It's human beings playing the sport. It's not the Matrix. It's not a bunch of ones and zeros. There's gotta be more guys like Clint Frazier that come out and talk about this shit. There has to be. Because it just validates all the bullshit that we know exists within that culture that continues to show itself to the surface and becomes a reason why they don't win a championship, because other teams do it better. Look at Detroit. Did anyone expect Detroit, after, what is this, year 2 of AJ Hinch? How long has AJ Hinch been there? One of the best records in baseball. I think they're second behind the Dodgers right now. But they look phenomenal with less payroll and less good players than the Yankees. And they look good. Their culture looks really good. Dodgers culture, I know they got a ton of money, but how many times do they have to lose their whole rotation and still be good to show you that what they do works? They draft well. They find kids out there in the Dominican, international signing. They find good players out there too. Andy Pajes looks phenomenal. They find players that are desirable as well to make trades with. Look at Ryan Pepio for the Rays right now. He looks fantastic. Former Dodger there. There's guys out there who can either perform for the Dodgers and help them win, or can be moved by the Dodgers to get good players in return, plus the money they have to go sign good players. So they have this vicious cycle of acquiring talent by doing things different way, different means of acquiring talent. And then when they get there, it's a winning culture. I mean, they've been in multiple World Series appearances the last several years. I don't really count 2020 for any sport other than the football. But, for baseball and basketball, 2020 was a wash to me. So I'm not going to count that. But, they're repeatedly deep in the playoffs. They're consistently in the World Series. Last year, they beat us. So why can't the Yankees model their culture and model their approach and model what they do after the team that just kicked their ass in the World Series? And people could say, oh, it was such a close series. You failed 0-3. You were down 0-3 in the series, and then that was it. Carlos Rodon got smacked up. Yamamoto looked good. Walker Buehler shoved in game 3 in the Bronx. And then game 1, you had, multiple chances to win that game in game 1. And, it ended up with Nestor in there giving up a granny to Freddie Freeman. So, it's a situation where you're down 0-3 in the series. You got gentlemen swept. As close as you think it wasn't that close. You can't go down 0-3 in the series and think it was close. Game 2 wasn't competitive. They didn't hit in game 3. Buehler shoved. In game 1, maybe one of the best games they had all series to make a sizable difference in the outcome, and they fucked it up. It was Kirk Gibson again, all over again with Freddie Freeman. Then you go to the game with the Bronx. Oh, well, Aaron Judge hit a homer and Volpe hit a homer. The series was over by then. Once you go down 0-3 in a series, it's done. Sorry, it's over. Anyone that believed that there was a chance to come back from that, I got a bridge to sell you. It's sometimes you got to be realistic. But the Yankees should model their operation after what the Dodgers are doing. Figure it out. Obviously they don't have an Andrew Friedman. Obviously they don't have a lot of the personnel and different things like that and the means of the money. But they still got roughly a $300 million payroll every year. They're still paying Aaron Hicks this year. They handed a pile of money to Josh Donaldson. They're paying DJ LeMahieu $15 million. They're paying Marcus Stroman a pile of money. Maybe instead of allocating your funds so poorly, you use those funds you have to make better decisions. Oh, there's a concept. How about instead of playing guys at positions where they're not naturally comfortable, you figure out ways to get guys at the positions where they are better, like Jazz playing second base. They're not doing that right now. So model your culture after the teams that are winning. Obviously, the Dodgers are the cream of the crop right now. Why don't you try to figure out what the fuck they're doing and model your shit after them? I don't know, just a thought. Copy the smart kid in class who passes all his tests. If you're sitting next to him, what's his paper look like? You're doing math problems? Okay, my shit looks like this. Holy fuck, his shit looks completely different. The Yankees and the Dodgers just played in the World Series. They're the kids sitting in class. The Dodgers are the smartest kid in class. The Yankees are, probably up there too. They win a bunch of games in the regular season. They get in the playoffs. I get it. They got to the World Series. They deserve some credit for that. I'm not saying they're a bad organization, but with their money and their resources and their brand power and the good players they have on the team, they are consistently underwhelming and underachieving. So you know what? Hey, Dodgers sitting at what are you guys doing over there? What are you showing your work on your math? What does your work look like? What are your answers looking like? Try to take something from them and figure out a better way of winning baseball games, building a roster, building a championship culture, because what they're doing right now doesn't work. And this year, what we're watching every day, do you think this is a World Series contender right now? Do you think that there are enough available players at the trade deadline to fix all the holes on this fucking roster? No. I'll answer that for you. Don't worry about it. There is not enough players available, not enough tradable assets in this organization to go out and get the players they need to patch all these holes. So players are either going to have to play better, or it's going to be another disappointing season. And you're going 16 years without a championship. And everyone's like, oh, Garrett Cole's coming back next year. Year one after Tommy John usually is not good. I hate to break that to you. Did you watch Sandy Alcantara pitch earlier this season? Not good. Times when Justin Verlander's come back, when Justin Verlander came back, Tommy John, first year, not good. I know he's older, but Garrett Cole, he's getting up there, late 30s, mid to late 30s as well. It's hard. You can't rely on Garrett Cole being, a Cy Young contender next year, pitching half of his season coming off of TJ. It's the first time he's had a major surgery like this. The velocity might be a little bit down. There's going to be a period there where Garrett Cole's going to have to find himself again. He's going to have to work through some kinks. It's going to be some really ugly times. There's going to be some ugly outings, and that's just, you got to bake that in the cake. That's just kind of what you have to expect and temper your expectations. So you can't just say, oh, we'll get him next year. We'll get him next year. How many get him next years do you have left with some of these, star players getting in their mid to late 30s? Can you sign a Kyle Tucker in the offseason? I don't know. Can you go get a Mason Miller at the deadline and completely revamp the back end of this bullpen? I don't know. What are they going to give? I don't think the Yankees are going to give up what it takes to get that. Is Spencer Jones going to be the godsend that we hope he is? Oh, nobody knows. How soon will Lombard Jr. be ready? Who the hell knows? Is he going to hit? We thought Volpe was going to hit. Look at him now. So you can't expect the next year, the next prospect, the next signing, the next trade. Oh, that's going to be what fixes this shit. You can't keep relying on that because oftentimes it doesn't work out the way you plan. So, they just have to build the roster better. They have to put guys in positions where they can succeed. You have to play guys at their positions where they're comfortable. Outside of DJ LeMahieu, okay, if I have a Jazz and a DJ LeMahieu and I have to pick one of them to be comfortable, it's going to be Jazz Chisholm because DJ shouldn't even be on this fucking team. So put Jazz at second, stick DJ at third. Oh, you don't like playing third? What do you prefer second? Tough shit. If you're going to be on this team, you're going to do what I say. $15 million, I'll kick your ass to the fucking curb. You get DFA'd. I don't care what Aaron Judge says. But, this organization does shit differently. So that's what it is. You're going to have to live with it. But, man, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough to watch. You get fans from other teams on Twitter, like the Brewers or the Pirates or some of these other teams. You guys always complaining on Yankees Twitter. You guys don't know how good you have it. Our teams are always shit, blah, blah, blah. It comes down to expectations. It comes down to how big your payroll is. It comes down to how many stars you have on your team. It comes down to a lot of different things. Expectations set in the offseason and before the season are going to dictate how excited or pissed off you are throughout the rest of the season. If you go into the season expecting your team to be dog shit, like Rockies fans, you're probably just going to kick back. I'm glad baseball's back. I'm chilling. I'm drinking a beer at the ballpark. I'm just watching baseball, enjoying the sport. If you're a Yankee fan, you were just in the World Series. You just lost Juan Soto. You just signed Max Fried. You completely, quote unquote, revamped your defensive alignment. You fixed all this shit. And the team, everyone's talking about plan B after losing Juan Soto was better. It's the better way to go. Team doesn't look great right now. I'm sorry. It doesn't look good. So when your expectations before the season are championship, when you hand out one of the richest contracts in history to a Max Fried, when you have a Luis Hill coming back, when you have an Aaron Judge, when you have Bellinger playing well, when you have, there's some good players in this team. Jazz playing well. Stuff's worked out. Devin Williams has looked better. Luke Weaver's looked better. For some of these things to be happening, Trent Grisham far outperforming his career averages. Ben Rice having a good year. Things have gone right, and they're 10 games over 500 middle of the season with one of the worst June swings we've had in recent years. So is Plan B really better? I don't know. You lost Garrett Cole. I get it. Unexpected. But you've got Max Fried, who's in Cy Young contention right now. The rotation hasn't been a problem. Carlos Rodon with the Beards pitching as good as he's looked since 2022. Things have gone right for this team, and they're still 10 games above 500 when they should be 20 because they fucked around and they've lost games, games when they've led. They're unable to come back in close games when they're down by three or more. 3 runs, should be a lot for Aaron Judge and Carlos Stanton, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, all these guys. 3 runs is what kills you. Their record with 3 runs, down by 3 runs or more, is awful. It's terrible. So it's tough, man. It's when you have championship expectations every year, and it just feels like a lot of fixable problems and a lot of incompetence. That's the reason why the team underachieves. It's frustrating. It's irritating. Pirates fans, Rockies fans, they're chilling. They're chilling. They don't have championship expectations. They don't have the payroll. They don't have Aaron Judge. They don't have all that stuff. The Bronx, Yankee Stadium, the championship pedigree, the mecca of baseball. They don't have that. So of course your expectations are different. But we were just in the World Series. We expect to get back there again, and shit's going really bad right now. They can't beat the Toronto Blue Jays. They just lost 3 straight to them. You lost a series to the Reds. They're losing series to teams that aren't that good. You're getting pushed around by bad teams. You're getting pushed around by some good teams. I think their record is better against teams that are 500 or better. But this series right here is a big test, interdivisional rivalry. It's been well stated that the Yankees, within the division, haven't been good this season. Hasn't been a good look coming into the series. That. Okay, let's reverse that shit. Let's at least get 3 out of 4 in this series. Let's put some distance between them. Let's bury them in the division. Let's have success. Let's do those things. And you just got slept. You just lost 3 straight. Like, the expectations are high and they continually fall short. And sometimes it's just tough to watch, man. So tough. 1 second. Ugh. Tough to watch sometimes, man. It's very frustrating. We haven't had any lasagna shows in a minute. We just got to get on here and let it out, man. And I do that on Twitter. Some people think I'm a crazy person. I'm passionate for the Yankees, man. If that makes me a fucking terrible person, so be it. I don't give a fuck. That's your opinion. Cool, bro. Keep scrolling, mute me, block me. Don't give a fuck. Unfollow, whatever. Like, I didn't make this account to cater to people. If you think I'm overly negative, keep scrolling, block, mute, whatever you got to do. I'm sorry. Calling shit how I see it. They haven't won a championship in 15 plus years. I'm pissed off when this shit keeps happening. They're incompetent. They're soft. The manager's a cuck. Very bad fundamentals, bad base running, bad defensive alignment. I'm pissed off about those things, and I talk about it. If you want to paint the sky blue and you want to act like everything's always okay, congratulations, bro. Enjoy the rainbow that just went over your fucking head. I'm glad you're happy about failure consistently. Congratulations. Don't come bitching on my shit because I call shit how I see it. If you don't agree with the opinion, keep scrolling. You don't have to comment. You don't got to say shit. If it's too overly negative for you, don't know what to tell you, buddy. You have a few different options if you don't like it. I just kind of laid them out for you, but man, don't get swept tomorrow. I thought game 3 would be better today, but wasn't good. You fell behind early. Will Warren looked awful. They scratch and claw the way back. Stanton hits his first homer. That's great. For a second there, it felt like things were turning around. I felt like a good scrappy comeback win. And you get dick slapped in the face again and you lose again. It's just over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It's irritating, man. There's people on my timeline, lifelong Yankee fans, are like, I got to take a break. This shit's irritating the fuck. I can't take a break because I look forward to watching the Yankees every day because I'm a sick fuck. Sick in the head. Keep watching this team. I'm a diehard. I've been like that since I'm a little kid. I watch every game. I talk about it every game. I'm into the players. I'm into the player personnel decisions. I'm into everything. I want to win. I want to see a World Series championship. 2009 was a long time, man. I wasn't a little kid, but I would like to experience one as an adult so I can savor it a little more. And some of us are pissed off, man. We want to see a championship. So we watch every day, hoping things get better, and it's just constant disappointment, just constant bullshit. And don't give me they're tied for first place. Shut up. Look at the last month. It's awful. It's terrible. The championship expectations are there every season, and they don't look like a championship team right now. Sorry. Bullpen doesn't look good. Defensive alignment's not good. They're catering to DJ LeMahieu. They have a lot of work to do at the deadline. I don't know if they're going to do it. Young guys got to start hitting. Old guys got to keep hitting. Some of the regression has to reverse and improve again. There's a lot of things that have to go right for this team to find its way back into the World Series. I don't know if they can do it. Doesn't look good right now. There's still 3 months to go. A lot of things can happen. Maybe they pull a rabbit out of their ass over the course of the deadline and, get some fantastic players and totally right the ship and totally reverse the culture. But for now, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. It's not enjoyable to watch. They're not beating bad teams. They're not beating good teams. They're free falling in the division. Their record in the last month and a half is awful. So something's got to give. Either this is going to continue to happen and they're just going to overall be a bad team going and fighting for a wild card spot, or they're going to fix this shit, soar to the top of the division, win the division, and get into October looking fantastic. All I know is I hope the latter happens. I want to see them win, man. I'm so tired of the disappointment every year, but it is what it is. It comes back to expectations. When you're expected to win a championship and it doesn't happen, it sucks. When you're among the top in payroll every season, when you're making trades, when you're signing good free agents, when you got Aaron Judge, when Stanton's hitting everything in the playoffs, you expect to win. I'm sorry, Pirates and Rockies fans. That's just how shit is around here. We expect to win with the resources this organization has. You expect to win, and it doesn't happen over and over again. And they get dick slapped by organizations that feel better ran, like the Dodgers. The Yankees are rich too. Don't let Hal Steinbrenner, convince you that they're a poverty organization. He cares more about the luxury tax because he wants to keep adding to his yacht collection. But it is what it is. But all right, guys, thanks for having me on a 1-hour edition of the Lasagna Show. I got a lot of shit going on. Work stuff has been kind of crazy. So, I'm not in my usual spot today. So, I'm going to try to do this maybe once a week. I'm sorry that, the daily post games Monday through Friday didn't really work out, but, I'm going to give you some advance notice. Today was a little bit of short notice, but I will be posting when I plan on doing that. I'll try to pick a day during the week where I can consistently get on here, and talk some Yankee baseball. But for now, it's kind of a fluid situation, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me. We had a really good turnout today. A lot of people are pissed off, rightfully so. You're allowed to be pissed off and you're allowed to talk about it. Don't let all these fake fucking positivity, paint the sky blue, rainbow people shit on you for being frustrated. Don't let people tell you how to be a fan. Be the type of fan you want to be. Fuck them. I'm so tired of that shit. Well, you're overly negative. Shut up, dude. Like, keep scrolling, block me, mute me, like, whatever you got to do. Like, if that's your opinion, you don't have to fucking cry about it. Just get the fuck out. Just how it is, and you guys are allowed to get on there and talk shit too. If you're not cool with this team, don't go to the game. If you're not cool with what's going on, talk about it on Twitter. You're allowed to have your own self-protests when shit's going bad and voice it. You're allowed to vent about it. You're allowed to get it out, get it off your chest. You don't have to sit there and pretend like everything's cool all the time. Just because you want to avoid the people in your messages talking shit. That's just my view on it. But thanks for having you guys today. Thank you, John. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Gina. I did see you guys' comments in there while I've been yapping my ass off this whole time. But I'm gonna try to do this once a week at least. I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter. If you're not following the Lasagna Show, what are you doing? I haven't been posting as much. I'm sorry. I get it. Subscribe to the Lasagna Show. If we're friends, if we're friends on Twitter, at least, if I met you in person, if I met you on Twitter, if we've connected, do me a solid. Go to YouTube, find the Lasagna Show, or you can go to my Twitter. I don't have the blue link in the bio anymore. I'll put it in there so you can follow. But go on YouTube, find the Lasagna Show, subscribe, and we'll be best friends forever. All right. Hopefully the Yankees don't get swept tomorrow. Good therapy session today. A lot of venting, a lot of pissed off, kind of segments there. But Hopefully things turn around. Hopefully they win tomorrow, and I will see you sometime next week. Have a great rest of your night, and go Yankees, even though I'm pissed off at them. Go Yanks!